Hey, what's good? It's your girl Rasathi, but you can call me Pika. I am checking in once again from Singapore. It is Wednesday night for me, so hopefully, the middle of your week, you can look back and be like, yep, I'm almost done, and this is everything that I did. Um, yeah, so let's talk about today. Today I had a very busy day. So like I mentioned, I had a primary school registration this morning that I thought would be really smooth, only my divorce had a hiccup that prevented me from registering right away, so I'll go back tomorrow morning. So once that was over, I rushed into work, got in a solid 3 hours of work before I had to go off to a Singapore Art Museum tour, like I mentioned, for Primary 4, which is a bunch of 11-year-olds. Now, that actually was another highlight of my day. It was really great to connect with the kids and talk to them about, the deeper meanings behind some of the art, what the artist's message was actually trying to convey. And it was really great. I had a group of about 15 kids, and we talked, we connected, we discussed ideals, and it was a great conversation. I really enjoyed myself. So once that was done, I actually didn't get to stay for the whole thing. Once they got ready to do the workshop itself, I actually left because I had a science class that was like halfway across town. It took me about an hour to get there, but I had a really random conversation with three guys who were still in university in hospitality and tourism. Now, for those of you who don't know, I spent about 15 years in hospitality and tourism. Well, not so much the tourism part, but hospitality. So I went from working at Kingsmill Resort and Spa out in Williamsburg, Virginia, where I ran the contracts for the sales team, and I also ended up in the food and beverage team, writing the event orders for, whatever food and beverage they wanted for that event. I did extra work here and there just, to make extra money because it was my first job right out of college, my first real job anyway. I volunteered working with the F&B staff, so whenever there was a big event, if I could pick up extra cash, I did that because, back then, what did I have? I had my college boyfriend that I was living with and tons of time. I didn't have kids yet, so I worked my ass off whenever I could. I also, for the record, taught yoga at the spa, which was really great. I really enjoyed that too. So that was the first job in hospitality. From there, I actually moved on to Wyndham Worldwide, which used to be known as Fairfield Resorts timeshare company. So I worked for possibly the greatest boss I've ever had, Carrie Corvo. Wherever you are, I hope you're hearing this. You were the best boss I've ever had. She understood me, and the funny thing is we bonded over the fact that we both lived in Singapore. She lived in Singapore for a time, and I was actually born here, so it was really cool to connect on that, and then, I got the job. So she was the director of marketing. I learned from her directly. I got lots of firsthand knowledge. I ended up picking up lots of little projects. So I was the marketing coordinator, but I ran the CNA payroll, which was community marketing agents for the timeshare company. And it was commission plus a base salary, so it wasn't like simple payroll. It was a little bit complicated. I took care of the manifest department. So Jocelyn, if you're out there, I remember working with you at the front desk as well. It was really fun. I ended up helping run the special events, which include 4 NASCAR trips, a David Copperfield show. What else did we do? We did I can't remember what they were called, but they were like weekends where we would get everyone into a different character. They could not be referred to by their own name. They had to play the character all weekend long, and it was a murder mystery weekend. That's what it was. So everybody would, have to forget who they were for the weekend, play this role. They had lines, they had, team building. It was awesome. So I did a bunch of marketing events that help us get more, timeshare customers and stuff. And we did dinner parties, we did road shows. It was great. So I got to do all of those things, make arrangements here, there, and everywhere else. Basically an event planner, if you will, plus the marketing side of it. So I did a lot of community marketing too. I made sure I went out and hit the bricks and, like went door to door with businesses. For anyone who was staying at our timeshare, if you were in the area, if they showed you their key, the fact that they had a key for the weekend or whatever, you'd get such and such a discount. So, I did all of that. It was really fun, but hospitality was at the heart of all of it. From there, I ended up, unfortunately, being laid off. And, it took me about 6 months to find another job, and that was the biggest switch, because from hospitality, I went into data analysis, which has nothing to do, like each of them were completely like polar opposites as far as the work we were doing, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Started off as a temp job where I had to migrate data. They were about to go into SAP, which I didn't know what that was. But the director there saw potential in me, and because I did such good work with the data migration, and because I saw the data, I will tell you, looking at all of that data, I had an idea of what was working and what wasn't, in a way that the line at Lumber Liquidators did not understand. They saw the numbers too, but the way I saw it was completely different. So I got the opportunity firsthand to see what was going on, to understand and be a part of the SAP migration. So I became one of those, part of the implementation team once we went through rounds and rounds of, changes and upgrades and tweaks to the code or whatever. So once everything was set up, once that database was originally set up, which was what I was doing, I got to come in at night shift and help everyone learn to switch over. The go live was intense, but I would never have gotten that kind of firsthand experience if I hadn't been there to experience it myself. So random conversations. I was on my way today from the Singapore Art Museum all the way out to Choa Chu Kang, which is minimum 45-minute trip on a bus. And when I got there, let me back up. As I got up onto the bus, right, I was trying to find a seat, and I sat down, and I happened to be in front of 3 guys that were in university. They were in hospitality and tourism, which is when I went on that rant about where I've been and why I have experience. So I couldn't help but interject when they were talking about finals and stuff, and I just happened to say, hey, what are y'all studying? And they said, oh, just general studies. And I said, yeah, but general studies in what area? Are you trying to do engineering, medicine? And they said hospitality and tourism. And my ears perked up a little bit, and I was like, all right, so let me dig a little further and see what's going on here. So I said, so how many more years do you have before you finish your degree? And they said, the one guy had taken his last exam today. The other 2 guys were getting ready to finish up, in another couple of weeks, because they had to wait for their exams to come up, whatever. And I said, so all right, so what are your plans after this if you're in hospitality and tourism? Do you have a job lined up? And they were like, no. So when I first came to Singapore, I started off, after the divorce, when I came here, I started off in the wine industry, doing event planning, basically, so all the wine dinners. But that didn't work out so well for me, so I moved into hospitality again, which obviously I have lots of experience. So I ended up working at the Grand Hyatt here in Singapore. And the fact that I lived and worked and breathed hospitality in the Grand Hyatt here in Singapore for about 2 years gives me a better idea of what they should be focusing on next in Singapore, so they can get the best possible training ever and then go from there, decide if they really want to stay in hospitality or not. Because, what do you really know when you go pick out your college, course that you're going to finish in 4 years or whatever? What do you know when you start? Except the fact that you've picked this and you need to finish it, So until you get that real world experience, nothing really makes sense. So I was talking to him and I said, you need to go ahead and find a big company, because they will have really great strategy as far as, training and stuff, so that when you are done with the training, you will have a better idea of what area of hospitality you want to go into. There's the food and beverage side, there's the room side, there's operations, there's so many different sides to it. So I was talking to them, and they were like, all right, well, if I were to go into a hotel, what should I be looking for? So we got into this great debate about what we should be looking for, and I told them, look, from my experience, because I worked at the Grand Hyatt, go find a management training program, because that is the best possible way for you to go and get a bird's eye view of every different department that goes into the hospitality industry, like what it takes to run a hotel. So we talked about that, and they said, yeah, they will take us through every department, right? And I said, yeah, but if you don't find a management training position, I would suggest the next best thing would be to get a front desk position. If you run a front desk, you have to be in good contact with housekeeping. You have to be in good contact with your engineering departments, because if anything goes wrong, they need to be right there and ready to, pick up and figure things out. You need to be close contact with your events planning team, because they will need rooms if it's a big event and it's like an overnight thing and several different events in a row. Weddings, especially Grand Hyatt is known for really, really beautiful weddings. So you have the wedding party that will come in at a certain time, and they need this room, ready, and they need so many rooms in a close area, close to either the banquet rooms or close to the bridal suite, so that everyone can communicate with each other closely. So I was telling them, go through all of that, go through and take the time to really do all the grunt work, so at the end of the day that you have firsthand experience, and if it's a good fit for you or not, and if like where to go from there. So for me, if I were to plan out someone's career, or at least give them an idea of what to look for, go for a big a company, so that once you get really well trained, you can go into a boutique hotel and make tons more money, but you already know how everything runs, so you can run it the best way possible. Or if it's a big enough company, you can get promoted or move to another location somewhere else in the world, and you can get all your traveling done that way too. So great conversation with them. It was completely random, but it left me feeling fulfilled somehow. I felt like, yeah, okay, I have some value to offer. I have something that I have lived through that I can definitely offer. And this is just one aspect of my life. I am not one-dimensional. There's so many different parts to me, and there's so much to my history that, I could go on ranting forever. But for all intents and purposes, today I want to talk about that random conversation. The random conversations with the kids. The random conversations with these college students. And then eventually, I got to my science class, and I had some really great conversations with 5- and 6-year-olds. Trust me, they may seem young, but they see a lot. So the conversations we have are completely random. I find that by the end of the day, I am looking at the connections I've made. Yes, I've been a little worried about the job that I have, but I understand that a lot of it is because I sit in a corner and I create curriculum, all right? And that's all well and good. I have a plan and everything, but I do better when I have someone else's energy to feed off of, to bounce ideas off of, to talk to, And at that company, it's like all of us are individual islands somewhere. We don't really talk. The boss does not come down and talk to me. I haven't talked to her in weeks already. I know she's got another project going on, but it would be helpful to either get reinforcement or constructive criticism, so I know what I need to be doing next. Now, it's different for me in my business because I am constantly looking. I am searching for, other input. I am searching for the way other people have done it. I can go look up, Apple's website, Google's website, who else? Uber and Airbnb, all of these websites. I can go and look at them because I know they're multi-million-dollar companies, and I can look and see what the layout is like, and then I can go back to my own rinky-dink website that I've just launched and be like, all right, maybe I want to add this here, maybe I want to add that there. And that's the kind of person, that's the kind of resourceful person that I feel that I am. If I don't know what I'm doing, I will go look it up. I will go look up everything in, YouTube, in Google, wherever I can look. I will go and look. I will go and ask questions, and I will figure it out for myself. And I feel like a lot of times we don't have enough conversations with people to spark interest in ourselves to go do something, or we don't have a why big enough to get up off our butt and do something about our lives, to change whatever situation we're complaining about. So today's conversations left me excited, renewed in a way, I guess. I feel like I gave value wherever I was. We had great conversations with my 11-year-olds, great conversations with these 24, 25-year-olds. great conversations with my 5 and 6-year-olds in my science class, and I feel like I need more of that. I want more of that. I want to have more conversations. Hit me up, please. Reach out, talk to me, tell me off, like I said, like whatever it is. You want to rant about something completely random? Let's rant. Let's talk. I need conversation in my life. I need feedback. I need inspiration. I love people. Now, don't get me wrong, working at Lumber Liquidators was great too, because you gave me piles and piles of data, and I sat in a closet and did all of that quietly by myself, watching bones in the corner of my screen so I'd keep myself awake. So, I mean, I'm good with that too. I guess that makes me ambivert. I guess I'm introvert sometimes and I'm extrovert sometimes, but I need both. I need both. There will be times where I'm overwhelmed and I just need the introvert side of me to pop up, and I will just go do something quietly by myself. And there are some times where I feel lonely. I am a single mom. I am with my daughter a lot, and I love it. I really do love it. But sometimes conversation with an older age group can be so fulfilling. I feel like conversations from any age group, young, old, whatever, they really do feed my soul. I really do get excited about it. I really do love conversation. So please, feel free, hit me up. Send me comments on this video. Send me, direct messages. DM me. Follow me on Instagram. I'm on there a lot. The handle is Rasath1, Rasathi, but obviously the I is a 1. I'm on Twitter. It's Rasath11. I haven't quite figured out the whole Twitter thing yet, but I'm also on Periscope. I'm on Periscope tomorrow morning, actually, and I haven't quite decided what I want to talk about yet, but I'm getting there. So come join me. Come follow the journey. Come see what I'm doing. Come talk to me. I would love to have a conversation with you. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it's been a really full day. I am finally getting the hang of how to manage my business on top of all of my other commitments. I am slowly managing without my kitchen at the moment. I've converted my dining table and my living room a little bit, so it's a workaround, obviously, but it works at the moment, and I'm super grateful that I cooked a ton of food this weekend, because today when I came home, I don't think I would have had like the energy or the focus to be able to cook anything to eat. So I'm really glad I have a ton of bottles and containers in the fridge full of prepped food already. I don't think there's much more I can say about random conversations. Hit me up, drop me a line. Let's talk, all right? Until tomorrow, I'll talk to you later. Bye.